Hi, I'm June Baker, and welcome to Health Watch, brought to you by Novant Health, your show for health topics from A to Z with local medical professionals. On today's show, we'll welcome Angelo Williams, Director of Supply Chain Operations at Brunswick Community Hospital. And he'll be talking to us today about the plans for the hospital move occurring later this year. Also joining us will be Deborah Rochelle, Manager of Service Excellence and Volunteers at the hospital, and Amy Myers, the hospital's Marketing and Community Relations Director. Deborah will share information on the hospital's volunteer program, and Amy will talk to us about the Brunswick Novant Medical Center Foundation. Stay tuned to learn about valuable health topics with Health Watch. Our first guest is Angelo Williams, Director of Supply Chain Operations at Brunswick Community Hospital. Well, Angelo, thank you so much for coming today. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And I know we're going to talk about the move to the new facility, but before we get to that point, I'd like to talk to you about what you do at the hospital. Can you share that with us?
Yes. I've been with the hospital for 3.5 years. And I'm in charge of supplies, supply chain at the hospital.
And what does that mean?
Well, we basically receive all of the supplies that the nurses and others order, and we distribute those supplies to them. And we're in charge of making sure that whatever they need, it's there, because obviously the patient is our most important focus. So we want to make sure supplies are where they need to be when they need to be there.
And so you manage that whole process, is that correct?
Yes, I manage that process along with for the entire market. So for the hospital as well as for the physician practices that we have here in Brunswick County.
Wow, that's a big responsibility.
Well, it is.
Making sure it's there when you need it.
That's correct, but I have a great staff as well.
Well, great. Now, I know you're very involved with the planning for the move. Is that correct?
It certainly is.
Well, it sounds like this is going to be a really exciting year for the hospital and a very busy one. So, can you share with us what you and your staff are doing to prepare for the move to Brunswick Community Hospital's new facility?
Well, yes, that's a great question. We are currently doing quite a bit. We have selected a company to help us with the move. The company's name is HCR Healthcare Relocations.
Okay.
And we started that process back in 2010, in early 2010, March, by the way. And from there, after we selected them as our vendor that was going to help us with the move, we started having meetings. We met in November, and we also met in this past January.
With this company?
With Healthcare Relocations. And just to figure out, what are the steps that we need to go through to make this a successful move.
Wow. Now, I know I've heard some of the leaders at the hospital speak very positively about the company, and it's called, what, Healthcare Relocations?
That's correct.
And so you said you started back in March. What did that entail? Did they come to the facility and look at what you had, or?
Well, back in March, what we did, we were doing research to determine what companies we really wanted to partner with.
I see.
So there were several companies that we, what we call an RFP, a request for proposal. And Healthcare Relocations was one of them. We invited 3 to come to the hospital for us to interview them to make sure that they met all of our requirements. And as I said earlier, having a good partner is really what we wanted.
Sure, that's
So
key.
Healthcare Relocations, when they presented their proposal, it was very clear to all of us that's the company we needed to partner with.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. They presented a great proposal. And one of their guiding principles was making sure that the patient was safe. That was absolutely at the top of their list.
Our next guest is Deborah Rochelle, Manager of Service Excellence and Volunteers at Brunswick Community Hospital. Well, welcome, Deborah, and thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to start by learning what it is you do as manager of service excellence and volunteers. It sounds very interesting.
It is very interesting. With Service Excellence, I'm responsible for employee, patient, and physician satisfaction. So I kind of oversee that at the hospital for the leaders and for the staff.
Oh, I see.
And then as far as the volunteer part, that's the part where I am the manager of volunteer services, so for volunteers and the chaplains.
Wow, you have a big job.
I do.
You have a lot to do.
I do.
And making sure everybody's happy.
Yes, I do.
Well, how long have you been at Brunswick Community Hospital, Deborah?
I have been there 10 years next month.
10 years, that's quite a long time.
It is.
Yeah. Have you always worked as the manager of service excellence and volunteers?
No, I've had 30 years of experience with food services and 10 years of experience with environmental services.
Wow, you do bring a lot of experience to that job.
Service industry, yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I know that several people are interested in volunteering at the hospital. I hear a lot of buzz about that, particularly with the new hospital coming and, set to open this summer. I think you're probably getting a lot more interest. What are some of the roles that volunteers play at the hospital?
There's a lot of roles.
Really?
We have the gift shop. We have a lot of retired nurses that work in our
Really?
ED and in our ambulatory surgery area. We deliver newspapers. We copy for different departments. We have fundraisers. We do things for our education department. So there's a variety of things that we do for the departments.
Well, it sounds like you have an opportunity for just about everyone.
Everyone.
How many volunteers do you currently have?
We have around 80 right now, 80 volunteers and about 17 or 18 chaplains.
Oh, wow, that's quite a few chaplains. I didn't realize that. Well, what would you say is the hospital's main goal regarding volunteers?
I think that our goal is to ensure that when someone comes in and they'd like to volunteer, that we look at their skills and what they'd like to do, what their interests are, and then from there we determine where they would fit in, what would make them satisfied, and also help in the departments and help other people.
Well, that's wonderful, Deborah. It seems like there are volunteers in every area of the hospital. How do you believe that their contributions help to ensure a positive patient experience?
I think the volunteers, they come in, volunteers are special people.
They sure are special
They
people.
really are. They're giving of their time freely. And a lot of them have already had different careers and have done other things. So when they come to us, they're wanting to help people. And so they do things like they sit at the concierge desk and they smile at people when they come in. They offer to take them places that they need to go.
That's great.
They really do. And they're helping in the gift shop. We do, as I mentioned before, fundraisers. And in those fundraisers, we collect monies so that we can help buy wheelchairs. We contribute to the college. We give scholarships to the college.
Really?
To the volunteer services. So there's a lot of, we do things like Focus on Help. We volunteer for Focus on Help. We have volunteers that help with that.
That's our monthly seminar that we provide.
Right. So there's a lot of variety that volunteers provide. And they make a difference. We hear that every single day.
Really?
Yes, from anywhere from the staff that work there to the patients to their family members.
Well, I think that you mentioned the concierge desk, and I think that's a great place to put a volunteer because they are so special.
They are.
And it makes for a great first impression on our visitors and our patients.
Right. And I don't know whether you've noticed it or not, but anywhere you go in the hospital where you see a volunteer, they're smiling, they want to help. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that is. I'm so pleased to hear about this. Our final guest is Amy Myers, Brunswick Community Hospital's Director of Marketing and Community Relations. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, I understand you've been at the hospital for a few years. How long have you been here, Amy?
I came to the hospital in 2006, so it was right around the time that Novant joined Brunswick Community Hospital. So I've been here, it'll actually be 5 years, which is pretty exciting.
It is pretty exciting, especially this year.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your role at the hospital. What is it that you do?
My official title is Director of Marketing and Community Relations, but I really wear a lot of different hats and do a lot of different things. The main thing really being marketing and public relations, so working on our advertising and public relations efforts, but I also work with our community outreach efforts, so all the programs we do in the community, and along with Deborah Rochelle, that I believe you met earlier, we also, I work with the volunteers as well alongside her and with those service excellence efforts that she spoke about.
Great.
And most recently, the foundation is something new that has kind of fallen within my responsibility.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the foundation because that's something new at the hospital, I think. And I know our viewers would be really interested in learning more about that. What is the purpose of the foundation?
Well, we're really excited about it too, so I'm glad you're asking about it. Really, the foundation is the philanthropic arm of the hospital. So officially titled, it's going to be called the Brunswick Novant Medical Center Foundation. So as you know, the name of the new hospital is the Brunswick Novant Medical Center. So that's how we came about that name. And it's a 501c3 organization that will solely benefit the hospital and efforts that go on at the hospital. And so that's really the main purpose, is to provide funding and awareness for the efforts and initiatives going on at the hospital. It's really another outreach into the community.
Sure, yeah. Now, I believe the hospital is a not-for-profit organization. Is that correct? And can you explain what that means?
Sure. And again, I'm glad you asked. I think there's a lot of confusion in the community about that. What some people don't realize is that prior to Novant joining Brunswick Community Hospital back in 2006, there was a for-profit company that managed the hospital. So it was a for-profit up until 2006. And when we joined Novant, we became a not-for-profit, which essentially means that if there are profits, if there's money made through the services offered at the hospital, it's reinvested in the facilities and the people. There aren't shareholders sitting up somewhere receiving funds. So it's really, it makes me feel good. I would rather work in a not-for-profit hospital. I feel good about the fact knowing that if there are funds raised, they're going to be reinvested right back. It's how we do things like open a new $107 million hospital. Is by being able to reinvest in the organization.
Thank you for tuning in to ATMC TV's Health Watch, brought to you by Novant Health. I hope this information was beneficial for you and your family. If you have any questions or topics that you would like to see discussed on a future show, please email them to atmctv@atmc.coop. I would also like to encourage you to participate in Novant's monthly Focus on Health seminars. These seminars are held on the third Thursday of each month in the Brunswick Electric Community Room. During these seminars, local medical professionals discuss health topics of interest and answer your specific questions. Please check the local newspapers for additional information or visit brunswickcommunityhospital.org. Thank you again for joining us today. Be sure to join us next time for Health Watch on ATMC TV.